I never thought I'd be the one to inherit Grandpa's old ranch. It wasn't some sprawling cattle empire out in the Wild West. It was a modest 10-acre plot on the outskirts of a growing suburb in Texas, where the city had been creeping in like weeds through a fence. Grandpa had bought it back in the 60s when land was cheap and dreams were big. He raised horses there, grew a little hay, and built a life that felt timeless amid the encroaching strip malls and cookie-cutter neighborhoods. When he passed away last year at 92, his will left it all to me, his only grandson who still remembered how to saddle a horse without looking it up on YouTube. I was 35, working a dead-end job in software sales in Austin, barely scraping by with rent that seemed to climb faster than my commissions. The inheritance felt like a lifeline. I quit my job, packed up my apartment, and moved out to the ranch with visions of turning it into something sustainable, a small organic farm, maybe some agritourism to bring in extra cash. The house was a weathered ranch-style bungalow with creaky floors and a wraparound porch that overlooked the pastures. The barn needed repairs, but the land was fertile, and the old well still pumped clear water. It was perfect, or so I thought. The trouble started almost immediately after I arrived. I'd been there about a week, unloading boxes and fixing up the fence along the property line, when a shiny white SUV pulled up the gravel driveway. Out stepped a woman in her mid-50s, dressed in crisp khakis and a polo shirt that screamed suburban authority. Her hair was perfectly coiffed, blonde with highlights that probably cost more than my monthly groceries, and she clutched a clipboard like it was a shield. "Hello there," she said, her smile as fake as the pearls around her neck. "I'm Karen Wilkins, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. You must be the new owner." I wiped the sweat from my brow and extended a hand. "Yeah, that's me." "Name's Jake, nice to meet you." She ignored the handshake, eyeing the fence posts I'd just set. "Well, Jake, welcome to the neighborhood. I just wanted to drop off our covenants and restrictions. We like to keep things orderly around here." I took the thick packet she thrust at me, confused. Grandpa never mentioned anything about an HOA. Her laugh was sharp like a bark. "Oh, honey, your grandfather was grandfathered in, pun intended. But with the transfer of ownership, you're subject to our rules now. The development has expanded, and your property falls within our jurisdiction since the annexation in 2015. I flipped through the pages later that night, sitting on the porch with a beer, the crickets chirping in the background. The covenants were a nightmare. No livestock visible from the road. Fences had to be a specific height and color. No unsightly vehicles parked outside, and a ban on any commercial activity. My dreams of a farm? Shot. The horses Grandpa left me, 2 old mares named Daisy and Belle, would have to go if they weren't hidden away. And the fines. They started at $100 a day for violations. I called my lawyer the next morning, a guy named Tom who'd handled Grandpa's estate. "Is this legit?" I asked, pacing the kitchen. Tom sighed over the phone. "Unfortunately, yes. The county redrew lines years ago and the HOA expanded. Your grandpa fought it tooth and nail, but he lost in court. He was allowed to keep things as is because of his long tenure, but new owners. You're bound by it." I felt a knot in my stomach. This wasn't just land. It was Grandpa's legacy. He'd told stories around the campfire about riding those trails as a kid, building the barn with his bare hands. Losing it to some petty rules felt like betrayal. But I wasn't ready to fight yet. Maybe I could comply, make small changes. That illusion shattered 2 weeks later. I got my first violation notice in the mail. My truck, a beat-up Ford F-150 with a few dents from hauling hay, was deemed unsightly. Fine, $200. Then another for the fence color. Grandpa's was weathered wood, but the HOA mandated white vinyl. I painted it, grumbling the whole time, the smell of paint mixing with the earthy scent of the soil. Karen showed up again, this time with a measuring tape. "Just checking compliance," she said, her eyes scanning the property like a hawk. "We had complaints about noise from those horses." "Complaints? From who?" "The nearest house is half a mile away." She smiled, that condescending smile. "Anonymous, of course. But rules are rules." I started noticing little things. My mailbox got accidentally knocked over, twice. Trash appeared along my fence line as if someone was dumping it to make the place look bad. And the whispers at the local feed store. "That Wilkins woman has it out for the old ranch properties. Wants to turn everything into McMansions." I dug deeper, spending evenings on my laptop, the screen glowing in the dim living room. Willow Creek HOA had a history of aggressive enforcement. Online forums were full of stories. families fined into bankruptcy, properties foreclosed over minor infractions. Karen had been president for a decade, re-elected unopposed because no one dared challenge her. Her husband owned a real estate firm that specialized in flipping HOA-compliant homes. The personal stake hit me when I found Grandpa's old journals in the attic. Yellowed pages filled with his handwriting. Fought the HOA today. They want to pave over the creek. Won't let them erase what makes this place special. He'd resisted, but age caught up. Now it was my turn. Tension built as fines piled up. I paid them at first, dipping into savings, but it hurt. My girlfriend Sarah, who I'd convinced to move out with me, started questioning if it was worth it. "Jake, we could sell and start fresh somewhere else," she said one night, her voice soft as we lay in bed, the fan whirring overhead. "No," I replied, staring at the ceiling. "This is Grandpa's. I won't let some power-tripping Karen steal it." That's when the idea of revenge sparked. Not violent or illegal. Grandpa taught me better. Smart, legal, and devastating. I started researching HOA laws, Texas statutes on property rights. Turns out, HOAs aren't invincible. There were loopholes, especially for legacy properties like this. I contacted a specialist attorney, Elena Ruiz, who handled HOA disputes. "You've got a case," she said over coffee at a diner in town. The annexation might have been improper, and if we can prove selective enforcement, it was the beginning. But Karen wasn't done. She escalated, calling animal control on the horses, claiming neglect. They were fine, but the visit cost me time and stress. I seethed, plotting in silence. One evening, as the sun set over the pastures, painting the sky orange, I sat on the porch with Grandpa's journal. "Time to fight back," I whispered to the wind. After that sunset promise, I dove headfirst into the battle. Mornings were for chores, feeding the horses, mending the barn roof where rain had leaked through, the hammer's rhythmic pounding echoing my determination. Afternoons, I pored over documents in the stuffy home office I'd set up, papers scattered like fallen leaves. Elena had sent me a stack of public records, HOA meeting minutes, annexation filings, even Karen's election records. What I found was gold. The 2015 annexation that pulled Grandpa's ranch into Willow Creek? It was rushed with questionable signatures on the petition. Several landowners claimed they never signed, but their names appeared anyway. Forgery, maybe, and Karen's real estate ties. Her husband's company had bought out 3 neighboring properties after HOA fines forced sales. Conflict of interest screamed from the pages. I shared it with Elena. "This could dismantle the whole thing," she said, her eyes lighting up over Zoom. "But we need proof. Dig deeper." Sarah supported me, though worry lines etched her face. "Be careful, Jake. Karen's got friends in high places. The mayor's on the HOA board." I nodded, but inside, anger simmered. Karen's next move came swift. A notice demanding I remove the old windmill Grandpa built, calling it a structure violation. It was functional, pumping water for the fields, its blades creaking gently in the breeze. Removing it would cost thousands. I confronted her at the next HOA meeting, held in the community center, a sterile room with fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. About 20 residents attended, most looking bored or intimidated. Karen presided at the front, gavel in hand. "Regarding the Thompson property," she said, using my last name like a weapon. "Multiple violations persist." I stood. "This is harassment. My grandfather's exemptions should carry over," she smirked. "Rules apply to all. Motion to fine?" It passed unanimously, fear in their eyes. Outside, an older neighbor, Mr. Hargrove, pulled me aside. "She's got dirt on half the board. Be smart, son." That night, I couldn't sleep, the house settling with pops and creaks. I wandered the ranch under moonlight, the grass cool underfoot, horses snorting softly in the barn. Grandpa's spirit felt alive here. I wouldn't lose it. Revenge planning intensified. I joined online HOA reform groups, learning tactics, record everything, build alliances, expose corruption. I installed cameras around the property, hidden in trees and fences. Sure enough, footage caught a figure dumping trash one night. Too grainy to ID, but suspicious. Then a breakthrough. Rifling through Grandpa's attic again, amid dusty boxes of photos, him young. On horseback, I found a file labeled HOA fight, inside letters from 2015, protesting the annexation, and a map showing the ranch was originally zoned agricultural, exempt from residential HOAs. "Jackpot," I muttered. dust motes dancing in the flashlight beam. Elena was thrilled. If we prove the zoning holds, your property could secede. But Karen upped the ante. Animal control returned, this time seizing Daisy for inadequate shelter. The barn was fine. I bailed her out, $500 down the drain, rage boiling. Sarah and I argued. This is tearing us apart, she said, tears glistening. Is it worth it? I held her. For Grandpa, yes. For us, too. This land could be our future. We reconciled, but tension lingered. I started rallying neighbors discreetly. Coffee meetups, shared stories. Mrs. Patel next door, fined for her garden. The Johnsons threatened over their kids' playset. A coalition formed in secret. We met in my barn, hay bales for seats, the smell of earth grounding us. Karen's reign ends, I said. Cliffhanger came when I received a lien notice, $10,000 in accumulated fines or foreclosure. Heart-pounding, I called Elena. Time to execute. With the lien hanging over me like a storm cloud, urgency kicked in. Days blurred into research marathons, my eyes bleary from screens, coffee staining the desk. Elena guided me. Gather affidavits from original landowners. Prove the annexation fraud. I drove around the suburb, knocking on doors, the truck's engine rumbling. Many slammed them shut, fear of retaliation evident. But some talked. Old Mrs. Ellis in her floral living room smelling of lavender. I never signed that petition. Karen said it was for road repairs. Affidavit signed. Mr. Hargrove. She threatened my variance approval. Another one. Sarah helped. Her organizational skills shining. Spreadsheets of evidence, timelines pinned to the wall. We're in this together, she said, kissing my cheek. Karen noticed. Violation notices flooded in. Grass too long, it wasn't. Sign on gate, unauthorized. She even called code enforcement on the well, claiming contamination. Tests proved it clean, but hassle mounted. I recorded a confrontation when she showed up unannounced. This is private property, I said, camera rolling. HOA inspections allowed, she snapped. Face reddening. Not without notice. She left fuming. Footage went to Elena. Harassment claim added. Personal toll hit hard. Sleepless nights, weight loss. Sarah's job hunt stalled by stress. But memories fueled me. Grandpa teaching me to ride. Wind and hair, laughter echoing. Alliance grew. 10 neighbors now, meeting weekly. We uncovered Karen's embezzlement hints. HOA funds for personal trips. Per bank statements leaked by a disgruntled treasurer. Big twist. Grandpa's file had a deed restriction. Ranch forever agricultural. If upheld, HOA powerless. Elena filed petition to county court. Challenge annexation, seek exemption. Karen freaked. Rumors spread. She hosted emergency meeting rallying loyalists. I attended heart racing. Baseless attacks, she yelled, pounding table. I stood calmly. Evidence says otherwise. Murmurs rippled. Seeds of doubt planted. Post-meeting sabotage. Fence cut. Horses loose. I rounded them up at dawn. Mud-caked, vowing payback. Climax built. Court date set. I prepared testimony. Nerves jangling. Court day arrived. The courthouse a looming stone building downtown. I suited up, tie choking, Sarah squeezing my hand in the lobby. You've got this. Elena presented. Affidavits, maps, financial discrepancies. Karen's lawyer objected, but judge listened. My testimony. This ranch is my grandfather's legacy. The HOA's overreach is destroying it. Karen took stand, composed but eyes darting. All compliant with bylaws. Cross-exam. Elena grilled on signatures. Did you forge them? Objection? But damage done. Ruling. Annexation invalid for ranch. Exempted. Fines voided. Lien lifted. Embezzlement referred to DA. Karen's face crumpled, a mix of shock and fury. This isn't over! But it was. HOA board ousted her in special election. Our alliance voted in reforms. I reclaimed the ranch. Horses stayed. Farm plans proceeded. Neighbors celebrated at a barbecue, laughter filling the air. Freedom tasted sweet. Mornings now peaceful. Coffee on porch, watching sunrise over fields. Sarah and I planted the garden, dirt under nails, dreams blooming. Karen faced charges. Her empire crumbled. House sold, she moved away. I turned ranch into community hub. Tours, events, preserving heritage. Lessons, stand up smartly, community power, legacies worth fighting for. Triumph healed wounds. Grandpa would be proud. What's your HOA horror? Comment below.